Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Nashville Tour Stop Podcast. My name is Aaron, and across my living room from me today, Ms. Julia Larkin. Welcome to the show, Julia.
Hello.
Thanks for coming to my home today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
So, before we get too far into everything, like I know we're going to, remind me how you and I met. We start every episode the same, so yes. I have to know.
So let me backtrack a little bit. So I moved to town. I didn't know anybody. And when you're looking for a roommate, like you go on Facebook and stuff. So I was supposed to talk with Tara to be roommates. It didn't wind up working out, but I still reached out to her afterwards. And we met up for coffee. And then a week later, she invited me out and introduced me to all her friends. And you happen to be one of them.
Well, that's simple.
So, yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. And I mean, I couldn't imagine a better way to be introduced to the friend group than my first week there, because I'm still friends with everybody now, and I wouldn't be where I am now if I hadn't met everybody. So
that's great.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that we're friends now.
Me too.
You're my only friend who has been inside my mouth with dental tools.
Yes. Okay. Well, let's explain that so people aren't like, what the heck? I'm a dental hygienist by day. So if anyone needs their teeth clean, let me know. Hit me up.
As soon as I started saying that, I was like, you're my friend who's been in my mouth. I was like, that sounds gross.
I know it does sound a little wrong, but yeah. So if anyone needs their teeth cleaned, I gotcha. Only for so long, because I don't want to do it forever. So
I don't think any of us want to do anything forever.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Like I love Tour Stop. I don't want to do it forever. I want to eventually sit on a beach and just leather. I want to turn brown and just drink a pina colada and watch the waves.
That does.
And eventually just
nice.
Become one with the sand.
Just melt away into the sand.
I'll start as dust and end as dust.
Oh my gosh. It's so funny.
So when did you move to town? What was that like?
It was intense. A lot of people don't know that I'm actually married. So I'll kind of backtrack a little bit more, give you guys the rundown of like my life a little bit. So back in 2019, I was finishing up college and I met my now husband.
Where'd you go to school?
University of New Haven in Connecticut. Okay. And
up in Connecticut?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. So I'm from New York. I went to school in Connecticut.
You don't have a New York accent.
You'll hear it sometimes, like coffee or like dog. I don't know. It comes out a little bit. But
right.
I lived in Virginia Beach for a while. So like I was exposed to that like Southern accent a little bit more.
It's like me with my Missouri accent.
Exactly.
Sometimes it just comes out. Okay. So you moved from New York to New Haven for school.
And then I was on spring break in Virginia Beach with my friend, and I was on Bumble. And I went on a couple dates with this guy, and we really hit it off. I didn't think we'd ever see each other again. And then, you know, things moved kind of fast. He's military. We totally fit into the what's the word? Stereotype.
There it is.
Yeah, we moved pretty quickly. We got married a year later.
Wow.
And I was living in Virginia Beach, and I hadn't really been doing music, but it was always a thought in the back of my head. And I just was 2 years into my dental hygiene career, and I was just honestly so miserable and unhappy. And I just knew that there was more for me, and I had such big dreams. I just didn't try.
Right.
So it was like 2 a.m. one night. I wasn't sleeping, and I like wake up my husband. I'm like, Luke, I need to move to Nashville. He's like, all right, hold on. What's going on? So I
You're
kind
like,
of
sorry,
explained
I've got to think about like, what the heck do I even want?
Yeah, it was a lot of emotions, and
that's a lot to think about all very, very, very fast.
Yes.
Too.
Yes. But I think when you like know you have to do something, you got to do it. And luckily he's the most supportive person in the world. And he was like, you need to go and you need to do this. And so having his support was really important to me, because honestly, I don't know where we would be if he wasn't supportive. I mean, I knew at that point I had to do what was best for myself. So having that support just made me love him so much more. So then I moved to Nashville by myself. Didn't know anybody.
So that was 2021?
This was, yes, 2021.
2021.
I moved in October of 2021. I started doing a couple like open mics just to like get back into it a little bit. Where was the
first place you played?
But this was before Nashville. So it was in Virginia Beach. I was doing at this like rundown bar. I'm not going to say rundown. It was like a dive bar called
the
Froggy's.
Kind of place that'll willingly host an open mic.
Exactly. And oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm glad I did it because it did help a lot. But it was was just intense moving here and not having played for so long. The first place I ever played was at the Rusty Nail
in
Hermitage.
That's up on Demundbrian, correct?
Honestly, I'm so terrible with directions, so probably.
There might be more than one Rusty Nail. I think
there might be. I know this one was in Hermitage, so whatever's that area.
There were multiple locations then.
Yeah.
Then I feel better. I feel better because I was like, as soon as I said that, it didn't seem quite right.
Yeah. So that was my first round, and I met Al David and Dustin Kynes. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them, but
I know Al.
They're awesome. They're awesome, and they're great songwriters, great performers. And then Dustin was my first co-write in Nashville.
Had you ever co-written before moving to Nashville?
No, not really.
Was it scary?
Yeah. I only ever wrote by myself. I did, actually, that's a lie. I went to one co-write. When I visited Nashville, I did one co-write with these two gentlemen, and it was fun, but it's weird. Like when you've never done something before.
And then also with a new person.
Yeah, and you don't know them. But honestly, like, it's fun because someone might have an idea or see something differently than you would. And I think it's with anything, you just get better as you go along. So you just got to kind of not think about it and just do it. You kind of feel like your ideas are stupid and you question yourself, but I think it's when you stop questioning yourself that good songs get written, in my opinion.
So let's lay some groundwork here. When did music actually start being part of your life rather than just as, like a hobby as a kid?
When it became part of my life, I mean, I would say in high school, because I took guitar lessons for like 6 years, but when I started doing like talent shows and any kind of performance at school, I just knew that like this is what I wanted really badly. And I would always daydream like seeing myself on a stage and singing to a crowd and having people sing my songs back to me.
Were you in choir or theater or anything in high school?
No,
Really?
No,
There's so many of us choir nerds here.
Oh my gosh.
Were you popular in high school?
I don't know the answer to that. You would honestly have to ask other people. I feel like I was friends with everybody, but I didn't really have like a group.
Okay.
I had one friend, actually, Maya. Her name is
Shout
out Maya. I'm going to tell her to listen to this. So funny enough, we met on Facebook too.
Really?
And she went to a neighboring high school. This was literally like 11, 12 years ago. And I saw that she played guitar and sang too. Oh, okay. So you know what? She was actually my first co-write, technically. I'm like, bringing back memories. So she was my only co-write before Nashville. And we would like write songs together. We would sing, we would perform. And I think that's kind of when I knew like, this is what I really, truly wanted. It took a while for me to believe in myself. So, but here I am.
So we're like, what was the first thing that got you into music though? Like,
my dad.
Your dad did?
Yeah. So my dad, he plays guitar by ear.
Okay.
Never took lessons or anything, but he got me my first guitar when I was about 8 years old. And then started putting me in lessons. And I remember this one Christmas, I was at Target and I saw this like light pink sparkly guitar, and I really, really wanted it. It was an electric guitar.
One of those ones that comes prefab in the box with the strap and the picks and everything.
Yeah. But it was, oh my gosh. I mean,
tiny little amp.
Yes. Imagine being a 10-year-old girl and you see this sparkly pink electric guitar. Like, I wanted it. And my parents surprised me for Christmas with it. I was in heaven. And then I was in guitar lessons with this guy, John, and he had like long, dark, curly hair, the biggest hands I've ever seen in my entire life, just ripping it on guitar. And he was teaching me like from like Bryan Adams, Smoke on the Water. Of course, Smoke on the Water is everyone's first song. And then like Hannah Montana.
Wow, that's a real spread of genre.
Yeah, because he wanted to teach me the classic rock, which I love. But I was like, Hannah Montana.
I would love to see you just rip into the solo for Smoke on the Water.
Bow, bow, bow. I literally remember it was like open 3, 5. These were the frets. Yeah. Open 3, 6, 5. Yeah, I literally remember being taught that. I feel like that's if anyone ever says like what their first song is, it's always Smoke on the Water. Like I think
that was like this one of the first songs I learned. Obviously, the very first song I learned was by this band called Trapt, Trapt. They had a song called Headstrong, and it's just like some early 2000s new metal thing, but for whatever reason, I was like, that's a cool guitar riff. And I listen to it now and it's like 2 notes, but I guess technically Smoke on the Water is like 4.
Yeah. But I guess that's kind of where I got started. And then I was getting really into Taylor Swift. So my parents switched me over to a different guitar teacher. And she was a female guitar teacher, and she
was
did
that more acoustic based?
Yeah, like folk stuff and finger picking, and she's so talented. Oh my gosh, I could literally put a song on and she like closes her eyes and just can start playing it.
That's cool.
Like she taught me a lot. I mean, I was with her for 6 years. So
sweet.
Yeah.
So taking guitar lessons, did that influence the songwriting? Because I definitely started playing the guitar first and then found myself like with a compulsion, like I have all these feelings and I don't know how to communicate because I'm 14.
Yeah.
Was songwriting like a consequence, if you will, a result of the guitar playing?
I think it's still, speaks true today that's kind of how I communicate. A lot of times I think I hold things in and it's easier for me to express it through music. Or like I'm really quiet when I get into like an argument or I'm upset and I like need time to process it. And
you internalize?
Yeah, I totally internalize. So the songwriting helps. And I remember being like 16 and I had my first serious boyfriend and he told me that he loved me. And I was like, oh my God, I don't love him. I'm 16. So I started freaking out and I remember like writing a song about it, and he like heard me perform my song and I was like singing the song to him.
I remember being 17 and telling my girlfriend like, oh, we're in love. And then we got into one fight and broke up and I didn't care. I was like, oh, that's not love.
Yeah.
But it is funny being able to go back and now as an adult be like, oh, that's what was happening in my life, and looking at it with wisdom, if you will. I don't feel wise.
Instead of a diary, like I just have my notebooks of songs that I've written or like song ideas. And I just go through it. And I'm like, wow, that's a little dark.
Dark for Jesus. You're like
dark
16.
And sad.
I still have all of my notebooks too. And it's hard to go back and read through that stuff sometimes because you're like, Jesus, I was depressed.
I know. Everything's so dramatic when you're younger. But it is cool like to see.
You can see the growth.
Yes, you can see the growth. And sometimes I go back and will use something from a couple years ago, even if it's just like one line.
I've been I say reusing. I've been sitting on a lot of lines like that I've just had in my like ideas in my phone for years. And sometimes an idea that you have doesn't speak to you right then, and then you have to wait 5 years to write that song because you finally have the experience to inform it.
Yeah.
So what was the first song you wrote called? Do you remember?
The first song that you really want to know?
I really want to know.
I have actually been dying to tell this story because it's so funny. So this was probably when I was like 5 or 6, okay?
Okay.
I had a little Barbie, little checkout thing.
Okay.
What do you call it? Register.
Barbie checkout
register. And it had a microphone on it. And me and my brother, we were really close when we were younger and we would play a lot. And I wrote a song and I would sing it on the mic. And would you like to know the line?
Yes, tell us. So we want to hear all of the details.
So it's okay if you fart on me. Like that's all I remember, but I remember it and we all remember it. And we all talk about it and we always sing it.
That's great.
Yep.
My first song was a little bit more dramatic. It was about a girl. I've told this story before, but it was about a girl named Laura who had a crush on in high school who didn't like me back.
Oh,
but
that'll get you.
I'm glad that we've all still got those stories. And now when we play songs that actually mean something, we're like, oh, okay, so I don't completely suck now.
Yeah, I know. It's growth. I feel like my song though, really, it's more up your alley because I know you like to do those fun.
Yeah, I do love. I've made many a fart joke. Have you heard me play "Fart in the Wind"?
No, I have not.
So it's a parody of Kansas's classic rock song "Dust in the Wind."
Okay,
but it's here. I've never read the words on the air before, but let me pull it up here on my phone.
I would love to hear the words.
I'll give you guys a look into. I actually have I think I have the words framed in my bedroom. They were hung up at my office for a long time, but I've got everything here now. So let's read the lyrics to "Fart in the Wind." Do you know the tune to the song?
Like, I close my eyes.
That one, yeah. So I clench my thighs only for a moment till the pressure's gone.
Oh my God.
I squeeze my knees, waiting for the gas to pass a sweet release.
Oh my God.
Fart in the wind. It was just a fart in the wind. And then I go on and on and on. So the first verse is about having to fart. The second verse is about what makes me fart. And then the third verse is just in parentheses, actively farting.
That's so funny. Honestly, like if you can't laugh at farts, then I don't want to be your friend.
I'm pretty sure I will never grow up. That's fine. You are totally
Like,
fine. Yeah,
Okay.
we have cursed many a time on the podcast.
Okay, cool. I curse a lot and then I forget that I do it.
No, you're totally good.
Okay, cool.
No, I feel like I've been a 14-year-old boy for 15 years because I have been laughing at the same movies since then.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not really interested in going and seeing new movies. I just want to go back and rewatch Anchorman and like Step Brothers and Adam Sandler movies that make stupid fart jokes.
Okay, wait. Have you ever seen The Master of Disguise?
Yes.
Okay, well, last thing, and then we'll stop talking about farts. But do you know the scene with like the evil guy in the backseat of the car and he's laughing, and every time he laughs, then he farts, and then he like laughs? Oh my God, that gets me.
It's funny going back and watching movies from our childhood because I really don't care about what's coming out now at all.
Oh yeah.
And I'm kind of the same way with music too.
Mm-hmm.
I very rarely listen to new music. I just listen to the same like 6 albums over and over and over again. That's also, I guess, part of like my job with Tour Stop is listening to so many people's music that
it's probably like an overload.
Yes, it's an overload listening to music. So I'll listen to the music on the back end here at my desk. An office is a generous term for that right now, but I'll listen to people's music to schedule them, and then I'll listen to it at the shows. So then I'm listening to 20 to 40 hours of music a week. So oftentimes the last thing I want to do
is listen to music.
Yeah. Have you ever driven home from a show in silence? Like just
Yes.
sitting in your car?
Yes. I actually don't, for the majority of the time, don't typically listen to music in the car. I listen to murder podcasts.
Oh, you're one of those?
Yeah, I'm one of those weirdos. It's I don't know why, but like I can fall asleep to listening to that. I know it's weird.
Creepy as fuck.
I know. It's like my comfort. I don't know why. I think it's their voices is really like what
is it that nice
not the
NPR voice?
Her toes were cut off. Her knees were cut off.
I used to fall asleep listening to heavy metal.
Okay, that's a little weird.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. It was just
something about the screaming in your ears that gets you.
Something about the screaming and the loud stuff just put me out like a light.
Oh my gosh.
No longer. Now I just take my ears out and it's quiet.
Yeah.
Super
there you go.
easy. It's one of the few perks of being deaf is if I'm like, for example, on an airplane, that crying baby is not my problem.
Yeah. You got to take what you can get from, in life,
Yeah. Or if I'm at a really bad writer's round, I can just turn my ears
drown
off.
it out. Yep.
I won't say who, but I do have a friend who's a bartender in Nashville, and they'll look at me sometimes at shows and they'll just mouth at me like, "Are you even listening?" Because they know that I'll turn my hearing aids off and I'll just shake my head. No. Sorry.
Now I know. I'm gonna look out for it now. Make sure you're listening when I'm playing. You might notice.
There's like you glaze over and your eyes are just like, is he paying attention? No. I never tune out at my own shows. I will give that caveat.
Yeah.
I have tuned out at other people's shows. And that's also why it's hard to go to other people's shows, like kind of as a tangent to that listening to music all the time thing. The last thing I want to do after hosting shows in bars for 20 hours or more a week is go to a show at a bar.
Right. And like you want to be supportive for your friends, of course, but it can get tiring. And kind of piggybacking off the overload of music, I feel like since moving here and co-writing and stuff, I feel like I overanalyze all these songs now.
Oh my gosh.
I'm listening to all the lyrics and the instruments and like the structure of the song, and I'm like, it's just so overwhelming because
part of you is listening, waiting for that like lyrical twist.
Yeah, and then some songs are just so simple, and I'm like, but they do so great. It's just it makes you really overthink everything. Honestly.
I think that's one of the things we've talked about him on the podcast before. Ryan Larkin's, no relation.
No relation.
No
he's
relation.
Great though. I've heard him play before.
This is Julia Larkin, singular.
No S. Drop the S.
This is Ryan Larkin's plural. But he's one of these songwriters who I think is just tapped in so deeply into his way of thinking, and he writes some of the most deceptively simple lines. Like one of his favorite songs of mine is called "You Make Everything Better," and it's just a love song to his wife about how she makes his life better. And one of the lines is something along the lines of, "You make everything better, like crackers in my chili or a road trip with some Willie." Like it's the most simple stuff. I mean, have you ever written a song that says putting crackers in my chili?
No.
You'd never even think about that.
I wouldn't think of that.
We're also tied up in trying to be metaphorical and clever. Meanwhile, the best songwriters in the world are like crackers and chili and Willie Nelson and road trips, things people love.
Yeah, you almost just like kind of self-sabotage at that point.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
It can be really difficult sometimes. And I think also when you have, like, if you have a good melody, I think that can, outweigh the not as strong lyrics sometimes. And
that's something that I pay attention to, is like when I write rock songs, because I read through some of like the Foo Fighters lyrics and they don't make any sense.
Right.
But loud rock guitars and a cool like melody, and then you've got the one hook line that everyone knows, and everything else other than that is just like secondary.
Yeah, and I think in country music especially, it's so focused on the hook, and everyone makes such a big deal about the hook and the lyrics and the story, and it can just be
What's the hook of Bohemian Rhapsody? There's not one.
Exactly. I feel like it's like 5 songs in one.
Yeah, it is. But it's proof to the point that you don't have to have like the world life-changing hook to have a killer song. If it's just a good song, people like it.
It's a good song. Yeah.
They'll like that it's a good song.
Yeah.
And that's also why it's a little damning being a songwriter, because we focus so hard on that hook.
Right.
And it's hard to turn it off.
I mean, sometimes it's, when you get like a solid hook and it's great. Like, damn, like that was good. And when you get to that point in the song and you hear someone finally say the hook, you're like, wow. But also it's like, we don't always have to, like, not every single song has to have, this crazy hook. I don't know.
I wrote a song not too long ago with a hook that I thought was good and I thought that people would respond to. And after I played it, I realized that the whole song leading up to it is really good and the hook sucks. And I'm just trying to now do this songwriter analyzing thing. Like, what can I say to say the same thing but better?
Yeah.
And sitting with a co-writer sometimes, you're like, I want it to be like this and with this sentiment, but it has to fit these many syllables and say exactly this thing. And you're like, well, there's the hardest puzzle we've ever tried to come up with.
There's like the one hand where it's fun trying to figure it out, and then when you finally get it to fit all those parameters that you were looking for and say it in the way that you wanted to, it's really, I don't know, accomplishing. That's the word.
Accomplished.
You feel really accomplished.
Accomplishment. As an English major, I should know how to say this.
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I know as songwriters we should be able to, but then at the same time, it's like, are there really rules to songwriting? Like, no, there's not. You can do whatever you want. So I think it's about finding a good balance of both of those things.
Like that first song that I wrote as a kid, I didn't realize it at the time. Because I had no musical training. I was playing by ear for the most part. I'd taken piano lessons from my dad, and I knew how to read music in like church choir, but I was never a like play note for note guitar player dude. I was just like loud rock guitars, cool. And I wrote a song that changes time signatures 3 times. And I wrote, do you know what a tritone is?
I don't think so.
In music theory and in like traditional music composition, you're, quote, not supposed to use tritones. So it's an interval. The Simpsons, that is a tritone.
Okay.
And I forget it. I think it's 3 stacks of like whole steps or something. But I wrote that kind of an interval into the first song's melody that I wrote, except I wrote it descending, I wrote all of these crazy things into a song, and I was like, because there were no rules.
Yeah.
So I broke the rules of songwriting literally from the first time I ever did it.
That's the fun thing about songwriting, is that there's no rules. Like you can be creative and kind of come up with whatever you want. So it's just hard to get out of that mindset, especially in Nashville. It's just, you're
when
looking
everything's
at
so cut and dry.
Yeah, and you're comparing yourself to other people, and when you're writing with these other people,
We
some
don't
people
do
take
that.
it more. Yeah, no, we're just looking forward. It's hard not to sometimes.
It's so
it
hard
is.
not
It's,
to.
But it just happens, and
Even when you see your own successes, like you could have a huge show with a bunch of your friends out. Your single release is the same day, and everyone's partying, and it's having a great time. And then literally, like, you'll be in bed that night, and you'll be scrolling through Instagram and see something that'll ruin all of it.
I know, you're like, oh, why aren't I there yet? Why aren't I there yet? Yeah, it takes time. I mean, I look at how far I've come from the first time I've moved here, and it's crazy to me. I mean, I went from literally not performing since 16, and now I'm performing a few times a week. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, and my voice has gotten better. I started taking voice lessons, and like that really helped. And I think
people don't think they need voice lessons,
no,
but
everybody.
everyone can stand
Carrie
to
Underwood
improve.
takes voice lessons. Ariana Grande takes voice lessons. Everybody, doesn't matter who you are.
Everyone,
So,
like, even if you're not trying to, for example, like improve your vocal tone, they can teach you breathing exercises that will still improve everything.
yeah. There's endless things to work or to learn, and it's kind of like going to the gym. It's a muscle. You have to work it out and treat it properly. So,
and when you don't exercise that muscle, you lose it.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
I've been going to the gym lately, and I'm relearning how much it hurts to lift weights.
Hurts so
it
good.
Sucks, but after you get used to it, it's not a problem.
And it's like making it a habit. And
yep. Well, here, let's take a quick break,
Yes.
and we'll come right back with the Nashville Tour Stop Podcast.
Sweet.
And we're back with the Nashville Tour Stop Podcast. Julia Larkin sitting on my couch today. We've changed seats. Usually I'm laid back on the couch with the, what do you call this? The sofa chase?
Yeah.
I guess.
Honestly, I don't know. But it looked comfier than the leather chair. So I was like, I want the couch.
It is a comfy couch. I fall asleep on it just about every night. So
it's
just
like
put
indented
out,
where you sit.
Oh yeah, the middle couch there is or the middle cushion is definitely where I sit.
Yes.
Because I'll like change which side I lean into, but I'm always anchored on that middle cushion, and I have to flip it every now and then to keep it from like conforming to the exact shape of my butt.
Of your butt cheeks.
So you just put out a single.
I did, my first one ever.
Tell us what it's called and what it was like to choose that first song, because I know you got a lot.
Yeah.
It's hard picking that first single.
Oh my God, yeah.
That debut.
It was a lot. So I wrote this song called Toy with my really good friend Willow Zoo. She's an incredible songwriter and artist. I would look her up. So we wrote this song back last year, actually this time last year. And I just knew that I knew right away that I really liked the song, and it was just really fun to perform. And so I had this other producer, and things didn't go well, So I wound up switching producers to this guy, Jason Bobo. Absolutely incredible. Best decision I've ever made. He made my vision come to life and really made that song into kind of what I didn't even know I was picturing. So that was he made that experience so much better for me. And I actually just did a music video for it. So it's going to be out. It'll be out when this podcast airs, but it'll be on March 3rd that it comes out.
So it came out a few weeks ago from this release date.
Yeah. Oh my God,
here.
it's weird. We're like talking in the future.
If you are
now.
listening to this on the day it came out, I see you, Grandpa.
Yes.
So can you tell us what Toy is about?
Yeah, so it's about catching your significant other being shady and calling them out on it and just being like, I'm not taking your shit no more.
Mm-hmm.
So just a fun, like empowering, upbeat song for everybody.
So who filmed your music video for you?
So his name is Matt. I don't know how to pronounce his last name correctly, but I think it's Backness. And he has a company called Classic 77 Creative Company, and he does music videos and content. And he did Haley Payne's Running Late video and Gracia's Run video, and I really loved both of their videos, so I reached out to him, and oh my gosh, he was so great. He was just so friendly and just had such a vision, and he made it so much fun to film. And
That's cool.
Yeah.
Did he kind of help curate, or not curate? Did he kind of help create the idea for what the video was?
Yes. So I had a couple of ideas on my own, and so did he. So we kind of like, put our heads together and figured out what we thought would be best. And I'm really happy with how it came out. So I'm very excited.
That's exciting. Where was it filmed?
So we filmed it. There was two places, one in my apartment and then one at a bar. So most of the scenes are at my apartment. So I just moved into a new unit. So I still had a bunch of boxes and stuff. So it was perfect for the video.
That's cool.
And
funny how life can suit your music.
Yeah, it was like perfect timing. I had my friend Axel be, the cheating love interest, and we play a lot together. So I was really comfortable with him.
That's great.
I didn't want to have my husband being the cheating love interest because I thought it would be kind of weird. So
yeah, it would be weird to cast your husband as a love interest in a song.
Well, the cheating love interest. It would be fine if it was a love song, but this wasn't. So that didn't feel right to me. So that was super fun. We did some fighting scenes, like we really got into it. And then we did a bar scene at the Underdog, which is like really vibey bar in East Nashville.
Funny story about the Underdog. That is actually, it used to be called Turn One.
Turn?
It like TURN, like Turn One. And it was just a super dive bar. I mean, it's still a pretty divey now, but it was just as divey back then. And that is the first place I ever had a meeting about starting Nashville Tour Stop.
No way.
Me and the guy I co-founded Tour Stop with. And what nobody else knows is that back then there was a third person. There was a third person who wanted to do the show with us.
He who shall not be named.
But when we had that first meeting, this girl who was bartending there, she's like, I don't think I have the time for it. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. And me and the other guy were just like, well, this will just be our thing then.
Yeah.
And
look at you now.
Who'd have thunk? Tour Stop was born at the Underdog Bar.
He's probably beating himself up about it now that like they didn't.
Did they put
chance.
your name up on the marquee there for the video?
No. No, I know what you're talking about, but no, I wish.
Yeah,
but that's okay.
They
it wasn't
have an
in
old
the shot.
school marquee behind this stage there where it's pretty limited in its size. So I've seen people have like long band names and they'll just put like a 3-letter initial for it or something.
Yeah, and what's funny is he told me like for best results it would be to get like at least 10 people so that it just looked full.
I remember you filmed that the day that I was in Las Vegas for the Super Bowl.
Yes, because I asked you to come and so we had like 13 people.
That's awesome.
And I just feel really bad because literally nobody's in any of the shots. Like I didn't even need anybody, but it was fun. So I'm glad.
It is always kind of scary when you like absolutely need people to show up and you worry like, what if no one's here?
Yeah, I was a little nervous about that, but it was the opposite problem. I had all these people and I didn't actually need them. But I mean, we didn't know that until he decided which pieces of the film to take. So, it still turned out really good. So I'm happy with it. But I just felt bad for my friends because they were probably excited to see themselves in it. I was excited to see them in it, but
that's okay. Awesome. So back in Virginia Beach, are there venues? I don't know anything about the music scene up there. Are there venues there that would be important for you to play at, like as an artist now? Yes, it's kind of difficult. There's kind of like a monopoly in Virginia Beach. Okay. Me and Axel were talking about it actually because he's from Axel Rasmussen. Shout out Axel Rasmussen. That's my homie. He's from Virginia Beach, so we were talking about it. But you have to like go through this thing called like Rockstar Booking, and they book all the venues there. So you cannot get booked at any venue unless you go through them. It's kind of like a Live Nation situation. Yes. And they have like a set couple people that play all the shows. That sucks. So I have my friend actually, Bennett Walker Wales, shout out to him as well. He plays most venues there and he makes a living there, I would say. Yeah, he does because he's playing all the venues. So, good for him. I'm glad he's making. But it also sucks that it's not open for more. Right. Yeah, I can't just message a venue and they'll let me play. There's a few, but they're like crappy ones. Like, right. And nobody wants to play those places. Yeah. Yeah. So, would you rather be the artist on stage or would you want to be the songwriter behind the scenes? I want to be the artist on stage. You want to be the artist on stage. You've got the look and the vibe for it. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just working on the confidence, which has gotten a lot better. I think it just comes with time. And was your tour stop show at the Tin Roof your first full band experience?
My second, but it was the first one without a guitar. And if you're an artist and can relate, you feel naked.
You do.
I felt naked. You don't know what to do with your hands. I mean, it was weird, but I think by the last song, I was starting to feel a lot more comfortable. So I think that's just something that comes with time.
Yeah. I remember the first time I played a full band show in Nashville, and I was a little because I'd played with my bands in Missouri before, but there's a different kind of pressure playing in front of people here. The expectation's a lot higher.
And there's so many things going on. Even the band practices were overwhelming for the first couple times because, I'm listening to the drums and the guitar. I'm like, is everybody on time? Do I follow the drums? Does this drum follow me? It's a lot to kind of get into the groove of, but then once you get in the groove of it, it's very fun.
Right. And I always tell people, especially what you just said, is as a person who's not used to being a de facto band leader, always follow the drummer.
Yeah.
Following the drummer, because if they're a drummer worth their salt, they're going to start and finish at the same tempo. Yeah. And as long as everyone follows the drummer, you're golden. Yeah.
And I feel because when I get excited and my adrenaline
pushes you. Yeah.
I'm going faster. I'm strumming faster. So it is nice to, have them setting the beat. And I'm like, oh, okay, I got to check.
Yeah. By the end of a song, you're like, gosh, Toy sounds like a punk rock song.
I know. I'm like, whoa, I'm out of breath here. I'm running a marathon on stage. That's what it feels like. That's literally what it felt like. My first one, I was so out of breath.
Because you're singing so fast.
Yeah, and just the energy's so different.
Oh yeah.
So different. But it's fun, and I look forward to doing that more and having more fun with that.
What are some of those things you want to accomplish in town? I know we've all got our bucket list. What are some of the things that would be cool for you? So
what I've liked to do lately, I've been doing this for 3 years, is I like to write down a couple 5 to 10 goals, attainable goals, and look back on it, in a 6 months to a year and see if I've gotten any of those done. And I've noticed that really helps and it works. So some of mine for this year is to get a certain amount of streams on my first single, play certain venues. For example, I want to play Bus Call this year. That's another full band thing that I've been looking forward to doing. Maybe some more long-term goals would be be an opener for someone. That's more that's a bigger step. So
I try to hit the road as Julia Larkin, the artist.
I mean, this summer, one of my goals was just to play in other states, acoustically, do a mini tour by myself. That's more attainable to me. And then maybe next summer, start touring with a band in a couple different states, couple shows over the summer.
I think the idea of touring is glamorized because it looks oh, you're on the road. It's going to be great. And
it's terrible.
I still hear nightmares of touring disasters. A buddy of mine not too long ago went on a tour into the Midwest, and they showed up at their Airbnb, and there were no doorknobs, and the windows were broken out. I'm pretty sure this is a crack house. We shouldn't sleep here.
Yeah.
We're in a place we've never been.
Yeah.
Where do we sleep now?
Here's the thing. It's, when you're an independent artist, you're doing everything yourself. So, until you get to that point where you have other people doing it for you or you can finance it, you have to do all these things yourself. So my friend Molly Lovett, shout out.
Shout out Molly.
She started touring, I think, last summer, and she started doing it all on her own. And she told me kind of her experience with it. You have to find the players. You have to, book the hotels. You have to pay for their food. You have to book the shows, make sure you're getting paid enough where you can pay all your players. You have to book the shows in the same weekend so that it makes sense. And she told me there was a lot of times where she either broke even or even lost money.
Yep.
And, sometimes it's that's what you got to do to get some of the experience.
It's an unfortunate reality of what we do, though.
Right.
Is we're bound to lose money.
Right. I mean, it's all part of the experience. And I think, anything will help you learn something or get farther. But yeah, it's not easy. I think that a lot of people don't realize that. And it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
It sucks how much work it is. I've heard forever, as I'm sure you have, that Nashville is a 10-year town.
Now I see why. I didn't get it. I didn't know anything about Nashville until I moved here. And slowly I'm like, wow, okay, it's making sense.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
And it's expensive and then hard about 6 more times.
Right. Lately I've been living like we can't take our money to the grave with us. So if you have a little bit and you can spend it on, that music video or something like that, do it, because I think it's worth it.
Mm-hmm. There's some things that are worthy investments. Like if you're going to play a big full band show, make it one where it can be a big deal. You don't want to go play a full band show in, Clarksville, which is like right up on the Kentucky-Tennessee border, because no one will be there.
Right.
And your career most likely won't progress anything from it. But playing maybe a big full band show at like the Basement or like a legendary Nashville showcase venue, something like that might be worth the investment, or a music video where it can literally be up forever.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you don't know like what can happen with you don't know who you're going to meet. You don't know who's going to see the video. Like you just don't know. So I think it's definitely worth it to do some of these things.
Have you heard of the artist Ingrid Michaelson?
Yes.
She has a song called The Way I Am.
Yep. I was just thinking about the Rogaine line.
Yep.
I'm like, that is just such a weird line.
Yep.
I'll
but
buy you
that
Rogaine.
song, she released that song independently, as she has with all of her albums, on CD Baby. And CD Baby loves to talk about her as an example of why independent artistry is difficult, but why it can be so financially rewarding.
Yes.
Is because she owned 100% of that song. And then Old Navy picked it up for a commercial ad. And then all of a sudden, it started charting. And this was years after it was released. But you never know. You put something up once, and then maybe somebody later is like, I love that. I want that. And it's a huge thing.
Yeah, there's just so many pros and cons to everything. Like, I mean, it's not going to work out for everybody, but it could work out for you. So might as well just try.
If at first you don't succeed, you'll probably fail about 100 more times. And then you can try again. And maybe the 101st time, something will work.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've done, I think it's something around 600 or 700 Nashville tour stop shows, which is a lot. And I'm at this place in my career now where I'm just barely starting to feel like something is working.
Yeah.
And we're about to have our 5-year anniversary this year. We started it in 2018, and we're recording this in 2023, the year of, I used to say the year of our Lord Blake Shelton, but I can't say that now. That was 2022. Who should 2023 be? The year of our Lord Alan Jackson?
Wait, what are what makes...
Oh, it's just whoever we want.
Oh man. Well, that's like a lot of pressure.
You can pick our new country music year of our Lord person. The year of our Lord Dolly Parton.
You know what? I'm going to say like someone like Kelsey Ballerini or Lainey Wilson, because shout out to a woman. And also like, first of all, Lainey's been here, 10 years, something?
I think so.
She just finally hit it off. And also Kelsey, because she's killing the game and being her most authentic self. So I think I want to strive to be like that.
I could do that. The year of our Lord Kelsey Ballerini.
Yeah.
The year of our Lord Lainey Wilson.
I like those.
Are those some of the people who you'd want to collaborate with?
I mean, that would be cool if I could. I think Kelsey Ballerini I'd more feel aligned with. I love country music, but I think she's got more of that pop that
she does have a pop vibe.
Yeah, I think I'm more lean.
Like even with Love Me Like You Mean It, it starts off kind of like a country adjacent, but it's not like yeehaw.
Right. Which that's just not me. I'm not yeehaw. I didn't grow up like that.
I'm not yeehaw.
Yeah.
I mean, I sing the yeehaw country song parody stuff, but it's because I love funny stuff.
Yeah, like we like that stuff, but that's not.
I'm not singing it because I actually grew up on a dirt road.
Right, exactly. And I don't want to.
I grew up in suburban Missouri on a man-made lake. Like I grew up pretty boring white dude family.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, Julia, thank you for coming on the podcast today. Would you like to leave our listeners this week with any kind of maybe a tip for life in Nashville? And it doesn't have to be like, do this to be successful. But like I mentioned before, my tip is don't go to the East Nashville Taco Bell. Do you have any advice for people who might be coming to town? Yes, I am going to get a little deep. I am going to say, if you're thinking about coming here, do it. I think the worst thing that can happen is like you
you don't.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what's going to happen. And I think you just got to trust your gut and do it. If you have something in your heart that's telling you that you need to come here, then do it. And just don't be afraid to get out there. I think the best thing that I ever did was just show up to random places and just meet people and start talking to them, because I've made so many friends that way. And everyone's so nice here. It's really easy to make friends here. And I think
it really is.
Yeah, you got to get out of your comfort zone and just, pretend that you're an extrovert, even if you're an introvert like myself.
That's exactly what I did. Like when I was in college, I was pretty quiet. I was very introverted, but I wanted to ask this girl out, and I knew she would never say yes if I was just some shy little, some quiet fella.
You just got to go for it.
I pretended that I was confident, and Lord knew it. She said yes.
Literally, like, my motto in life is fake it till you make it. Like, that is my motto, because
it works.
It works.
It works. I was at an Applebee's on Valentine's Day in 2013, and I saw this girl from like the one booth over with all of her little girlfriends, and I was with all my guy friends, and I saw this girl looking at me, and I winked at her, and my buddy's like, "Did you just wink at that girl?" I said,
like,
"Yeah."
Damn right I did.
He's like, "Well, you got to go talk to her now." And I was like, "Well, I don't know what to say to her." He goes, "Pretend that you know what you're saying."
Yeah.
And I went up and I got her number.
There you go.
You got to fake it till you make it. Maybe that's what we can call this podcast, faking it until you make it.
Honestly.
Faking it until you're making it.
But I want to be co-host then.
Forget the Nashville. Okay, cool. Forget the Nashville Tour Stop podcast. We're rebranding forever.
It's called Faking It Till You Make It. Yes.
Well, Julia, can you tell our listeners where they can find you on the web, on the internet?
Yes. So my Instagram is Julia Larkin Music, and my website is julialarkinmusic.com. And that lists like all my shows, my music that's out. I will have more music coming out this year. So
watch the music video for Toy.
Yes, please.
We'll have all of that linked in the episode description here as well. So you can just click right onto her Instagram profile and follow her there. Are you a TikTok person?
I'm trying to get in there.
It's hard.
It's hard. I am on there. I feel like I've done more like TikTok challenges than anything music, honestly. I
remember the TikTok. Didn't you have one go viral where you and your husband? Tell us what it is so I don't misquote it.
It was the tortilla challenge, and you like stand in a circle with water in your mouth, and you like slap each other in the face with tortilla.
With tortillas.
Yeah, it got like a lot of views.
That's
ridiculous.
But
not my singing ones.
It's crazy that the things that we pour our heart and souls into these songs, and then it'll get 300 views, and then you slap your husband with a tortilla and it goes viral.
Go. Yeah, that's the world we live in, I guess.
Well, Julia, thank you for joining us today on the podcast. Please do remember you can subscribe to the podcast here. We're literally 2 subscribers away from 100. So if you're listening to this and you don't follow us, be like Hall & Oates and make my dreams come true. So follow us here on the podcast, whether you're listening on Apple or Spotify or wherever the heck you find us. We also have the podcast Patreon if you'd like to contribute to the thing that gets me out of my living room. I would love to be able to have a true podcast studio again.
That would be nice.
But for now, Julia is just comfy on my couch.
You know what? I like the couch. Couch is comfy. Okay.
You can also check us out on the social media places at Nashville Tour Stop, basically everywhere. You can also follow us on the web at NashvilleTourStop.com, where we've got our full live event calendar listed. Come hang out with me at a show. You may be so lucky as to just find Miss Julia Larkin there as well. Yes. I think it's happened before. I'm pretty sure we could get you on. But come hang out with us live if you want to come meet me face to face. We've had people flying in from out of state before to meet me, which is crazy, but it's happened. So come hang out with us at Nashville Tour Stop. So until next week, when we come back with the next episode, do remember that all roads lead right back here to the Nashville Tour Stop.